In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Adidas NMD V3. Now the NMD V1 was, well no it is, my favorite boost equipped lifestyle model from the brand, but I was not a fan of the second version. I'm super keen to see if these V3s are closer to the one than they are the two, and if they are closer to the one, are they better, more of the same? We'll find out. Let's get into it. I loved the NMD V1 because quite simply it nailed the design and it was a super, no it is still a super comfortable shoe to wear. The upper is this stretch knit upper that is one piece. There really isn't much to the upper and it really nailed that booty style construction that I typically don't love all that much. When it was paired to the boost, it just felt like you were wearing a sock and had some pillows underneath. It made it a perfect option for lifestyle wear when you needed something to kick about in. The other advantage with the NMD V1 is that there was a huge, well there is still a huge supply of those shoes. So while there's a bunch of new colorways being released, there are always a bunch of really cool options available at discounted prices. It is really hard to go wrong with that NMD V1 in my opinion. The NMD V2 though, for me, was no bueno. The fit was wrong. I really didn't like the whole redesign to the back with the swap out of the pull tab and putting that other weird strappy design around the back. I also really didn't like how they looked on my feet. I tried them on a couple of times but never committed to a purchase because I just never saw myself wearing those shoes, and to this day I still don't own a pair of V2s and have no intention of buying a pair. The NMD V3 now has come along and at least as far as the looks goes, it is really promising. What I really like is that they seem to have gone back to the V1's silhouette, going back to the way that the pull tab was in the V1 and a overall shape that is more reminiscent of the V1 than it is the V2. There are some changes to the V3's design and choice of materials that I think don't make it as good as the V1, but it is definitely a lot better than the V2 and still a solid option if you are looking to buy a pair of lifestyle kicks. The biggest change here is in the material mix up top. The thing that did make that V1 so great was the way that it felt like a sock up top. It achieved that through the stretch knit upper that it had, well, what most of the NMD V1s had. They've gone a different route with the upper in the V3, swapping out that beautiful stretch knit upper for a textile material that is more keeping with Adidas's sustainability journey. It's a 50-50 mix of recycled polyester and Parley Ocean plastics. And the upper feels a little bit more like a ripstop sort of material. I can't really comment on its breathability, but it does feel like it will trap in a fair bit of heat, and that could be an issue for hotter days. Well, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for hotter days, but if you are planning to wear them for long periods of time in hotter days, I think these will become like a little sauna for your feet. But I can't say for sure, it's just how I feel the material feels anyway. They've also done away with the booty design from the V1 and gone with a more traditional type upper with a detachable tongue, and in practice I think it feels really good. It really helps you get a secure fit on your feet. Speaking of fit, these guys fit true to size. They are a touch sloppy. They are not as snug as what I find the V1s to fit, but they're not overly sloppy that I would recommend going a size down. I would go whatever size you've typically bought a pair of NMDs in the past, and if you've never bought a pair of NMDs, I would just go with whatever your true to size is. The other changes that I personally really like with the V3 are the way that they have redesigned those, probably what I would call the iconic feature of the NMD, and that's those midsole plugs panels. I'm not sure how you would describe them around the midsole. I think they look great on the NMD V1 and also the V2, but I do like what they have done with the V3, going for a more slimline type of look. And in this particular colorway, the way that they are encapsulated within that transparent plasticky material just looks really good. Apart from those changes up top and to the overall design, there really isn't much of a different feeling underfoot. You're still getting that really fantastic boost that is, in my opinion, tuned perfectly for lifestyle wear. Sometimes boost can feel really different depending on the shoe that you are using. Performance models might be tuned differently for the performance needs. In the case of the NMD V3, it just feels great on foot. It's nice and squishy without being too squishy, and it's just comfortable. No complaints from me on how they feel on feet. The biggest issue though I think that Adidas is going to face with having the NMD V3 be successful is price. The NMD V3 retails at $240 here in Australia, and that is dangerously close to just not being a viable option for anyone. The NMD V1 was not only a fantastic shoe, but really reasonably priced at a $200 starting point here in Australia. There's been a $40 bump in the NMD V3, and I don't think you're getting anything more in this package that you're not getting in the V1. The design of the V3 has evolved a bit over the V1, but there is nothing here that I think makes it worth more than what the V1 is. The V1 still retails at $200 here in Australia if you are looking to purchase a pair that is not discounted at all. Outside of the price hike from the V1 to the V3, what Adidas haven't necessarily factored in is how the $240 represents value when comparing it to other options that are available from New Balance and Nike. There might not be a direct comparison for the NMD type of shoe in other brands, but there are a bunch of amazing options that are available around that $200 price point. Even though the NMD V3 is not as good as the V1, it is still an excellent option, but I do not recommend it at its retail price. Wait for it to be discounted, and then you might be able to snap up a really decent shoe at a price point that I think is more reflective of where it needs to be. Anyway, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think about the NMD V3 and whether you think my rant about price is not justified or whether you agree with me. I think you guys get what I mean. Anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments down below, but until the next video, laters.